Hello, I'm Yilda Sethi at Crazy Normal for better health and well-being. I'm a psychotherapist, author and founder of Rapid Core Healing, Emotional Mind Integration, PTIT Trauma Recovery, and a family constellations practitioner in promoting better ways of working with the mind. I'm inspired to dispel myths and lay out facts about your mind and relationships and mental health. And I'd like you to join me in an exploration of what it is to be a crazy normal like me. But do it in your own way so you can be free to be you. Hello, we have another really interesting person today called Walter Gith here with me today to talk about his perspective on life and to give us some information about his book that has recently gone onto Amazon. So Walter is somebody I've known for a few years actually, but I've never had this kind of conversation with him before, so I'll be also really interested to see what comes out. So over to you, Walter. Can you tell us your full name and where you are right now, and also perhaps where you come from?
Yeah, my name is Walter Gith, and I'm in Australia here now at the moment, but I grew up in Germany, where I studied physics and worked for a big company until 2000. And that's when we came to Australia, so it has been 25 years now. It's quite a bit.
Yeah, wow. And what were you doing in Australia, Walter? What did you turn your hand to when you came to Australia?
Yeah, well, I studied physics in Germany, but when I came to Australia, I was already working in the IT environment, and then I started an IT company in Australia. It was software for little retail shops, like hairdressers, for instance. And it helped them manage their appointments and cash flow and all these things.
Okay, great.
And that's what, it didn't really give me the permanent residence for Australia, because I did that before with buying a restaurant. The restaurant was the only way to fulfill all the requirements, because they wanted you to have 6, 7 staff members within their first half year. And I wonder how anybody can do that, you know. So, I did that fall back.
Okay, so you've been a restaurateur as well. Wow. Okay, so you've been through quite a lot. So right now you're in Queensland, as I am too. Tell me about your drive. What is it that's got you to where you are now, Walter? What's the impulse that took you from Germany, took you into your studies of physics, and then overseas? What was driving all of that?
Yeah, well, I was a very confident person, or hopefully still am, and had a lot of ideas what to do with my life, and had always a strong drive for what I was doing. So when I was younger, I had already in mind to study physics, because that was somehow expected. My father was an electronic engineer. And I was fiddling with little electromotors and transistors already when I was 5. So I was really preset for that career. And that led me to the physics study. But during growing up, before physics, I was also interested already in philosophical questions. And that made the decision for physics, because physics has a lot to do with philosophy. There's a lot of connections.
Very wide, isn't it? Physics is a very wide subject.
Yeah, and it takes you right down into the questions of how does acknowledgement work, how does measurement work, and all these critical questions. And that was the main reason that.
And also, why are we here? You know, all about the universe and the planets and everything. It's all comes in, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then there was always that discussion, the arguments of my brother with my father. You know, my father said there is a world spirit, and my brother was totally atheist at the time. So they had always these fights, and I thought I have to figure it out.
Yeah. And what do you think of that now, Walter?
Yeah, I mean, that is as well the fundamental topic of my book. How can I somehow integrate the spiritual world with the physical world? Because that is a topic that many people are discussing since centuries. And I thought very deeply about it, and my conclusion now is that we as humans haven't even really grasped the vastness of information that we are dealing with on the planet. And the information itself is a topic that is not even covered in physics. They didn't touch it. So the question is still open, what is even information? And that is where, for me, the whole spiritual questions come into play. Because when I look at religions and history of religions and all that, then for me it's a lot of information management going on there. You know, the people get brainwashed, which is a total information thing, and they start telling these stories each other, and this is all information exchange. And so the whole spiritual world, you could say, is a huge information phenomenon. And that is my view today. But it goes a little bit deeper. When you go into physics, you really touch the edge of what we can experience at all. It turns out that we are sort of in a cage where we get through our reality computer, which is in the brain. This thing simulates for us the whole reality. So we are always only indirect in touch with reality. And that made me even question the laws of physics, because, you know, the laws of physics is basically an agreement between smart people, how they think the world should be. It's nothing more. Many people believe that fundamental physical laws are real, that they exist somewhere out there.
Aren't they only real if they can be replicated in... I mean, there's different levels of physics, I know that. There's quantum physics, there's mechanical physics, there's all sorts of different kinds of levels of physics. Mm-hmm. But, people like Einstein, for example, he had a wild imagination, and he imagined all sorts of things. And it's only now that some of those are being proven to have some validity or not,
Or not.
Yeah.
Just now, physics is in huge turbulences because all the theories are not sufficient, and they are really struggling to find a common theory. And the reason for that, in my eyes, is that there is no physics out there. The physical laws are an agreement between people, and they are triggered by some phenomena outside of us. I wouldn't deny that there is not a reality outside, and that reality has laws as well, but the laws that we make up in physics, for instance, are totally human-made.
Yes. Yeah.
So we really don't know what is really out there. That is the point.
And I would say too, a little bit about what you said earlier. We think we know a lot as human beings, but we probably know the tiniest little bit of what there is to know, right? And added to that, we have a limited brain function, don't we? Like we have a limited reality within our bodies. We're just human creatures. We're still creatures, right? So another being with a much bigger brain or a bigger way of perceiving might see something and realize something very differently to us. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as physics figured out, there could be even different dimensions.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
when you can read about it almost every day because it makes a good topic for journalists.
Yeah.
So they are writing about all the time the universe was and it was not, or it had a big bang or had no big bang, and all these questions are still very open.
Well, they're still theories, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not facts. So how could we make anything a fact anyway? Because we're not able to go back to when, let's say a Big Bang was supposed to happen. We can't even access any of that information really, other than see the way the world, the planets are now with all their rotations and galaxies and but we don't know where it came from, do we? We can only guess
Yeah.
and put some mathematics to it and
Yes.
call it a theory.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And it becomes a fact through agreement.
Yes.
It's what people agree about, that's what they call a fact.
Right. So,
I mean, there's other facts from outside, as I said before. There is, of course, outside effects. But whether you can make a law out of it or not is totally different.
perhaps you could just tell the listeners what's the difference between a theory, a law, or a fact. I mean, fact and law probably similar, are they? I don't know. Tell me what your take is on that.
Yeah, well, the theory is the whole building. Let's say many laws put together to create one big picture. That is what I would call a physical theory. It has many laws inside, but when you look closely, all these laws, and with them the whole theory, is man-made. So it's an agreement between the scientists, what they all think. And that made huge progress for the human race, because this agreement process brought us to all these things that we have, like electric motors, mobile phones, and all that.
Computers, Zoom, everything. Yeah.
That is all a result of this agreement process, where we happened to have some, how can I put it? Some touching points with the reality out there. So some agreement with the reality, you
Well,
could
it's
say.
almost like you have to be able to put a theory into some practical application before we can agree that it must work. Do you know what I mean? To
So
some
if the
extent.
theory, let me put it like that, if the theory agrees with the outside world, we call it fact. That's how you can put it.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's nothing else. A measurement is just checking whether the outside is responding in accordance to my laws or not. And you could call that agreement with the outside world as well. And that we call fact. So there is no fact on its own. It's only in this context, I would say.
Okay. So that's very interesting. So we think we know a lot, but actually we know a lot about nothing, right? However, we still exist, right? I have consciousness, you have consciousness. We've agreed to have this conversation and we're using language. You obviously speak another language as well, but we're using this language to communicate some ideas, right? So that's our consciousness now. So what does that leave you in terms of spirituality then for you?
Well, the spiritual world is, as I said before, a lot influenced by our stories that we have in our heads. But also there is you could say, a spiritual experience when you go inside of yourself. Because that is the point in time when you cut off all the external information that's coming in, and you can focus on the inside information that comes up. And that's what called people meditation. So there's a whole different world that comes up during meditation, and this world is what the founders of religion were always referring to. But many people didn't take the effort to do the real meditation or praying or whatever. They just believed what the wise people told them. And that's when the religions came up.
That's right.
But at the beginning, all these founders of the religions, they were heavily meditating and they were in contact with this huge inner world. And from my point of view, you can also see that as a flow of information, but that comes from inside. And it contains all your emotions and intuitions and everything, basically, that we have good names for. Listen to your heart, we say. So there is a voice inside of, obviously, that you can listen to. And all this is, for me, the spiritual world today.
Yeah. So would you say it's spiritual specifically for humans? And this is something we don't know. Do human beings have their own spiritual world or worlds? I'm not sure if it's an S or a D. And do animals have a different consciousness, but we can't know the value of that. We can't know what that is either, can we? And then you've got, like, I'm looking out here onto a forest, and there is another whole different energy there with nature and water and things growing. It's a big mystery, isn't it? I mean, the more you ponder it, the more you realize, well, I realize, the more I realize I don't know much at all.
Yeah, we are so proud about our consciousness. Yeah, I was about to say that the consciousness, we are so proud of the consciousness and we think it's a human thing, but I don't think at all it's a human thing. I have a much broader perspective on consciousness. I think, meanwhile, consciousness is everywhere, not only in animals and trees. It is in the matter itself. It is sort of a basic feature of the substance that makes us. So I call it substance just to use a different term instead of matter, because matter sounds so physical and dead. But I don't mean it at all in that sense. I mean that this substance that we are made of is highly intelligent and conscious. And this is why it is able to create something like a human being.
A little bit like energy, right? Energy can transpose into matter and then back to energy again. So that energy itself has its own vibrational energy or particle or wave energy or whatever energy it's got. But it's the same as every other thing that we know, and we don't know everything in the universe, right? So we're just part of the bigger consciousness of matter or energy or universe or...
Yeah, look, this is the point where I would add information to the whole picture.
Yeah.
Everybody is talking about waves and vibrations and matter, but we have to talk about information, because information is the crucial sort of feature that is missing. Because if it weren't missing, we wouldn't have a difference between spiritual and physical world. So there's something missing, and in my point of view, it's just the information that is missing. And if we attach information flow already to matter or energy, then I think the picture is more complete. Not final at all, don't get me wrong. This is just a new concept that I'm coming up with here, but it could help us as humans to understand what is going on around us.
That's right. And I guess it also depends very much on the powers that be in our world about why some people only want to think of our physical world and other people want to think of the purely spiritual world, whereas what you're proposing is, and I propose too, that we are everything. We're part of everything, and I also don't understand how it all works. Yeah.
And you have to imagine that even in physics now, looking into all the small particles, this world is not like we are used to at all. So they talk about so light waves are going backwards in time, and all these totally weird phenomena now that they definitely researched and have an agreement upon. So I always say that we have no idea what we are made of.
No.
We are made out of a substance that we really don't know much yet about.
And so where does that leave the ordinary human being? Like, should we worry about this, or should we just say, well, look, for me personally, it's like, okay, it's all very interesting and I'm fascinated and I love to read about it and think about it, but in the end, I am here and now, and staying in the present here and now is probably what's really important, at the moment, right?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting conversation. So I guess that's where you get other people who've been highly educated as well, who come to a point of, okay, I cannot know it all, so all I can do is be who I am. And within that, be the best person I can be. There seems to be a human drive for that too, doesn't there?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that is the inherited, I would call it self-referential mechanism of the consciousness that drives us further and further. And I have a very interesting chapter in my book about it, because in principle, we could just stop chasing all the ideas and theorists, make big theories about the reality and all that. We could just stop that and be in the moment only. But for some reason, not many people do that. And that is still a mystery to me, why. Why we are not totally doing that. And I assume the other way is fun sometimes,
Yeah.
Figuring out things, making theories, it's just fun stuff.
And experiencing, right? Experiencing in all directions. We seem to be primed to do that, don't we? We need.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So could you tell us the name of your book, Walter?
Yes, it's called Love and Physics, and it's on Amazon under my name. You can find it under my
Walter
name.
Gith, yeah.
Yeah, and the title is very much saying what I'm trying to do, to combine the spiritual love world with the physical world.
Yeah. I think it's really important actually, because my observation is they're often poles apart, aren't they? And people don't seem to understand why anybody would want to put them together. And yet, when people who've been to the moon or something, or been in space, astronauts, often come back highly spiritual. Have you heard that?
Yes, oh yeah.
It's like experiencing the world such a long way away, and experience all the different colors and experiences, takes them out of their human brain into something else, and they come back with a really different view on the preciousness of our planet, the preciousness of our life, the preciousness of our existence. So, and they are highly intelligent beings too, aren't they, as well? Probably very rational up to that point. Yeah.
Yeah, it just gives them a totally different perspective, I guess. It never was out there, but it must be something like that. A different perspective.
Okay.
From up there.
So if people want to contact you, Walter, I will leave your email address, the title of your book, where they can get it. And thank you so much for coming on board for this short chat and sharing some of your really interesting ideas. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you too for having me.
You can find out more about me and what I offer at rapidcorehealing.com, or contact me at yildiz@yildizsethi.com.